Is it really that hot outside, or did you just eat some poo lettuce? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WVAP. Starting on a real high brow today. Yes, that classy James Show. Making Trotz jokes coming out the gate here. But listen, it is hot. And I would like to continue the conversation that we were having yesterday about the heat, where, yes, it is hot. Yes, it's 100 degrees. Yes, some people need to be cognizant of that and adjust their activities otherwise. But I think we still overreact to the heat. I think we still put forth to this latest generation a version of themselves that isn't nearly as robust as it could be. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because since we started talking about this on the James Show yesterday, I have gotten maybe a dozen or so emails, Facebook messages, wherever it comes from, of people who talk about growing up here. Like some lady said, yeah, we grew up, she was right outside of Wichita Falls, like Electra or something like that. And they didn't have air conditioning in the car. They didn't have air conditioning in the home. They didn't have air conditioning at the school. And this wasn't like in yesteryear. She didn't take a horse to school. This was just 40, 50 years ago. And so I guess the generation that's right before me, most of them have a story about the lack of air conditioning growing up. I think if you were born about the same time as me, I'm almost 50 now. I think we're the first air conditioner generation. But this whole idea that we tell kids, well, if you're going to be playing outside, you've got to hydrate every 15 minutes. No, listen, if you're a soldier carrying a 40-pound rucksack in the middle of the Styrian desert, maybe you need to hydrate every 15 minutes out of an abundance of caution. But most of us didn't get that kind of treatment. And I hate that I can't have this conversation without somebody pointing out some really obvious stuff, like you are just looking for a reason to take offense. Because I also got maybe 3 messages from yesterday's show where people are saying, that's not true. I'm 76 years old and I can't be outside for more than 15 minutes. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the 17-year-old strong safety for Bug Tussle High School, or I don't know, Hooterville High School, whatever, Plano. I'm talking about young, healthy people, otherwise young, healthy people. And I've got to be able to talk in generalizations, or we're not going to be able to talk about any touchy subject ever. Like when you say, like, generally speaking, men are taller than women, someone's going to call in and go, look, there's that Brittany Griner in the WNBA and she's taller than you are. That's not what I'm talking about. But for most people, this is not a catastrophic level of heat. For most, if you're a young, healthy person, this is not a scary ordeal to walk outside when it's 100 degrees. This is something you can easily overcome. And yes, I do not mean to minimize or be too reductive about the people who are harmed by this. Because people call in, and I don't know if you're trying to start a cafeteria food fight over here, but people are like, Brad Barton said he's the number 1 cause of natural disaster deaths in America. Well, that can be true too. But on a serious note, WFAA had the report a postman passed away. We're not sure if it was the heat. We don't even know what the cause of death is. We haven't had the autopsy. We hadn't had the full report. But, boy, they sure do jump all over the heat.
The car died on Monday while delivering mail on Thornhill Drive. His death remains under investigation, but neighbors say he collapsed as the heat index climbed above 100 degrees. The Little Elm Fire Department told WFAA crews responded just after 2 p.m., and neighbors say they saw first responders performing CPR. The car did not survive. And while no official cause of death has been released, neighbors say the extreme heat has made working outside, just as the car did, especially difficult.
Can we just wait until we find out what the cause of death was before you start tacking it on? Because you know what this means? I hate to tell you this, but you kind of suspect it's true already. Heat's now political. The weather, everything is so damn political in America in 2026. You can't even go through. This isn't even a heat wave. This is just a normal July week without politics being entered into this. And what if this guy had an aneurysm? What if he had a torn aorta or something like that? You're going to go back and correct the record? No, you're just exploiting his death to push what's obviously now something that's political. Boy, they've got to stress you out about this. They've got to stress you out about. Think of how much of our modern policy is based on this farce of global warming. The fact that we have CAFE standards on our cars, and the fact that we have all these other regulations on how much your toilet can flush or how much your shower head can flow. All this environmentalism stuff. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but this all adds up. They're always trying to scare you. Oh, you need to be scared of these people because of their race. You need to be scared of these people because, billionaires are going to exploit you. You need to be scared of these people because they have guns. You need to be scared of these people because they're wearing a red hat. You need to be scared of these people because they're Christian. I can't do it. I can't be scared of everything. I can't be scared of normal weather. Ron and Garland, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Well, that was quick.
First segment.
Here you go. Hey, man, I just wanted to say, I drove a truck all my life, right? I was in the city, and being a truck driver local in the freight line business, we never had air conditioning. Our air conditioning was 2 windows down, and that was it. I mean, that was it. I mean, so, you carried a water jug with you, and you just went about your business. One thing about the heat, you got to know when to come out of it. And if you ain't got brains enough, then you need to stay in the house, period.
Or here's what you can do. While you're a kid, you can go out and engage in vigorous activity and learn where your physical limits are. How do you know how much your body can take until you've passed out from heat exhaustion or until you've had, reached your limit? You don't even know where it's at. And so if we don't let them go out there and learn, they'll never know how strong they are, how robust they are. And I don't want it the first time that they experience super hot heat is when they're having to storm the beaches of Normandy.
Yeah. You know what we used to do when we was kids summer vacation? We would go back up to the schools, and there would be a rec, somebody come out there. We'd form baseball teams. We'd be out in the freaking sun all day long, dude. And, the heat is heat, period. That's it, in a nutshell.
It's so embarrassing, though, to see how we're treating this latest generation. When I go to my kids' soccer games, they take hydration breaks in the middle of the second half. It's like, we just had halftime. Get back out there. You'll be fine. You're a child. You're 12 years old. You can run around in the sun for hours on end. It's not nothing. It's something, y'all. 800-288-9227 if you want to jump in on this. Coming up next, we're going to get an update on the Iran war with Colonel Wes Martin on the James Show. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, James Parker here for QC Kinetics. Do you know what PRP treatments are? Platelet-rich plasma. So in your blood, you have blood cells, red blood cells, white blood cells. You have the plasma, the goo that it's all swimming around in. But you have the little platelets that are floating around in there too. And usually that's what happens. They gather up to make scabs. But that's the healing property in your bloodstream. So what QC Kinetics can do is they can take out some of your own blood. They can put it in a machine that will filter out the red blood cells. They'll filter out the white blood cells, and then it'll spin it around and it'll get rid of some of that plasma till you really just have this thick goo of platelet-rich plasma. So the name explains what it is. But that's just one of the many things they can do. If you go to the QC Kinetics website, you see they have like 8 different treatment angles that they can do, and that's just one of them. So whatever your pain is, I don't know if it's in your knee, if it's in your shoulder, elbow, wrist, back, hip, ankle, toe, go to QC Kinetics. They'll evaluate your injury, they'll evaluate your condition, and then they'll see if one of these regenerative medicine treatments is right to fix what's wrong with you. But it all starts with you making the first call. You go in, doesn't cost you anything to get the evaluation. 972-972-8610. You got to make the call to start your way to a new pain-free future with QC Kinetics, 972-972-8610. All right, we're going to get caught up on the Iran war, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that. I said something, and all the phone lines are full, and I think I might be getting an earful coming up after. Look, we got to take care of business. This is just a war. No big deal, right? I'm James Parker. This is the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home for the WBAP Morning Show. My next guest, a regular, because he keeps giving us such damn good information, Colonel Wes Martin coming back on the James Show. And Donald Trump says, well, we're preparing for a real massive attack on Iran. We haven't been doing that already? Fantastic. How you doing, Wes? What is Iran's interest in Yemen anyway? I understand why they want to be in Syria and Lebanon. It's adjacent to Israel, and they can pound, the great Satan. But why do they care who controls Yemen? Okay, so we're talking with Colonel Wes Martin about the latest in the Iran war. So when we lose a soldier, Donald Trump says we're going to retaliate, many times over. Uh, what does he mean by that? Does he mean body count or does he mean a bridge? Well, when he said earlier today that Iran and whoever's leading Iran has evil intentions, that tells me from his business strategy, he has no intentions with negotiating with these people again. Yeah. All right. Well, you're a great guest. Look up more from Colonel Wes Martin online. Thank you for all that info about Yemen and the Houthis and all that good stuff. Thank you. All right. I'm going to jump and try and squeeze in a call here. See if we can clear up some phone lines. Carrie in Weatherford, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hello. Yeah, I've been listening to the weather thing, age and everything else. And I want to say that I grew up working for my granddad over in Granbury, Texas. It was Duncan and Sons pier hole drilling. And I watched that man climb on and off a drilling rig until he was 84 years old. And I guess I just want to say that, age is just a number. If you grow up working, you work hard all your life, it'll carry you longer in life. I think the generation, that generation of hard workers is gone. Except for, there's still a few of us out that work hard and are out in the weather all day.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I worked in technology for about 23 years, and I kind of semi-retired, and now I've gone back to, I'm just a QC guy at a truck company, and I'm out in the heat all day working on trucks.
Well, Carrie, I've had some jobs intermittently between my failing radio career, and one of which my brother-in-law is a general contractor. So if I need some side work, I can just go to a job site and swing a hammer doing something for him. And so I've been on a lot of job sites in the last few years. There's plenty of young guys out there. There's plenty of young. Now, they don't get put on TV. They're not represented in the latest slew of Netflix shows that are coming out. They're not winning any Grammys. They're not winning any Oscars. They're not going to be one of these cool social media influencers. But there are still rugged, tough guys out there who don't mind sweating, who don't mind humping it and putting in a full day's work. Just let's not give them zero credit. We just need to stop acting like such babies about the hot weather. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Yeah, don't worry. Global warming's a hoax. I know it's hot. That doesn't prove anything. Commenters on Facebook, I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. It's 100 degrees. Tell me global warming's not real. It's not real. It's that easy. It really is that easy. Now, if you want to look at a little more mature angle at this, the concern that we have when it gets really hot is this is actually the power generation, the power usage peak. Not when it was Snowmageddon. The reason why we had power issues then is because the ice and snow was breaking our power lines. Tree branches were falling off and hitting transmission lines. And that was terrible. It took forever to get back up. But here we are. Texas Power just broke a record this week. 91 bazillion, jillion gigawatts or something like that. How much was that? I think Joe Biden actually was telling us how much that was on yesterday's show.
$1,000,000,400,000,600,000,000,000.
All right, so for all you people saying, if we build data centers, our power grid's not going to be able to handle it. We have 621 in Texas already. Our power grid handled it.
Texas just set another unofficial record for power usage. Thankfully, we've had enough supply to keep up with that demand. The official record was set in August of 2023 with 85,508 megawatts. Yesterday, ERCOT's website showed demand topped out at 91,300 megawatts around 5. ERCOT says it will verify values with more accurate meters in the coming days.
Can we just say gigawatts like we were all promised in Back to the Future? We've been dying to say that our entire lives. It's like our favorite word from 1985 or 1955, depending on what part of the movie you're in. Am I going to get beat up some more? Kendall and Thorndale, you're next up on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
James, I grew up on a farm where we had 3 tractors and 2 mules.
Okay.
And I hauled hay, and I was at so much better condition than anybody else from stacking the hay that they would let me watch the football players run wind sprints. So it really has to do with conditioning. And what I'm saying is the farmers, I come from a farm ranching community, and we have an Alcoa plant which shut down, and now we have water over there. And even in Alcoa, they couldn't stand the heat in the pot room for just a little while.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to be conditioned to it. Now, I'm 72. I live without air conditioning. But what I'm saying is I do go where it's cool. So, and we drink water all the time. And I remember we took water breaks, but none of the kids, true farm kids, didn't play sports. And like Matlock said he grew up on a dairy, I told the guy that I'm a fact checker, his grandparents ran a dairy, and that would have been my biggest fear. And you take care and tell Miss Parker hi.
Oh, I will. She's
Hi, Miss Parker.
very well might be listening right now. Now, I love your story, Kendall, because I don't want anybody to make a mistake. We're not sitting here bragging about how 70-year-olds are so much tougher than 15-year-olds today. We're telling you that 15-year-olds are every bit of stuff. They have the same DNA, the same blueprint, the same capabilities, the same durabilities as Kendall did when he was their age. Now, I know we're not talking to a whole lot of kids, but we're talking to a whole lot of parents who have kids and some grandparents who have some influence on kids, and do not teach them that they are incapable of withstanding. I'm scared to go outside just because it's 100 degrees. We need to tone down the fear as the primary motivation for so much of what we do in modern society. Just accept it. Yeah, you're going to be sweaty. You're going to be uncomfortable. When it's done, you're probably going to smell like Bigfoot, but you're not going to die. Dan in Fort Hood, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Hey, how's it going?
Fantastic.
I'm one of those 78-year-old guys you're talking about, and I grew up in the Army. My mom married a GI when I was 4, and I like to tease everybody by telling them I was drafted.
Nah.
4. But anyway,
Hang on, that was funny.
I started out here at Fort Hood when I was 4 years old. Went to Germany, came back from Germany, went to Fort Polk. Fort Polk, we went somewhere else, then back to Fort Polk, then to Fort Lewis, and Alaska. So I've lived in just about every kind of climate you could think of.
Okay.
I mean, when I went to Fort Greely, Alaska with my stepdad, that was the Army Arctic Test Board Center. So yeah, I got frostbite while I was there too. But
Well, you know more.
never
You
that.
have more context than most people. What your thoughts then, Dan?
They're just trying to scare us. They're being chicken little, hollering about the sky falling when it's not really. All it was an acorn and hit him in the head, if I remember correctly. But I can remember as a kid running around. Springtime got there, I had a pair of tennis shoes that I wore every once in a while. I run around. I grew up a little bit in Kilgore, Texas, where I was born, and I can remember running around on oil roads barefooted. I got big calluses. I can remember running around in just a pair of cutoffs, and that was it. I ran around the woods in around Fort Polk up there at Louisville,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
places like that. And it to me, the problem is now I've got a son and a daughter that would fall into your care. Well, the son died of cancer, but anyway, they didn't get out and run and play like I did when I was their age because they had too much going on in the house. The kids today, I got a granddaughter that turns 22 next month, and I can't get her off a damn phone.
Well, thank you for sharing your context, Dan. I think these stories, enough people tell them, it will sink in. We have got to stop treating our kids like Fabergé eggs. We didn't become the most strong, robust, top of the mountain country by raising a bunch of weaklings. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Donald Trump spoke right before the James Show started. And some of it was centered on data centers. And of course, with electricity generation and the heat wave going on right now, it kind of fits into what we're talking about. You'll hear that in some of your neighbors coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Man, my message box is so hilarious right now. It's all those, when I was a kid, we used to walk to school 8 miles up hills both ways. But no, it actually serves a purpose. By the way, James Show. I'm your host, James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Donald Trump will be here for the midterm convention September 9th and 10th. Remember WBAP when that happens. But look, those stories are just annoying, and a lot of them are people bragging about how tough they are. Well, in this one, we're not bragging about how tough 70-year-olds or 60-year-olds are, how tough we were, and how tough we had when we were growing up. I'm just countering this weird narrative that 100-degree heat is deadly for normal, healthy people when you and I had a similar experience growing up where we were just the same people that are now telling you it's scary to go outside when it's this hot. We're pushing us outside when we were a kid. Get the hell out of the house. Go play. My mom wasn't like, well, it's 100 degrees. You might die. No, my mom didn't even have to say, do you have a water bottle? Do you have a Stanley you can carry around? No, my mom knew I'd be okay. Every once in a while, you just go to the nearest water hose, turn it on, take a drink, keep moving. Keep it moving. But the point here isn't to brag about how tough we are, or even to say that this next generation or younger people or millennials and down are weaklings. No, we're actually saying the opposite. You are made of the same stuff as the people you are hearing call my show. You are the same robust genetic material from all generations previous. Remember, for all of human history, we didn't have air conditioning. We didn't even really have indoors until recently. And so it was the most normal thing in the world. When it was 100 degrees, we all just went about our business. Yeah, we sweat a lot. Yeah, it was a little tougher. But we need to stop acting like this is just a hill that can't expect it to be climbed. We made people scared to go outside when it's hot. That's ridiculous. Just like we made people to breathe fresh air during COVID. Oh, you got to put on this mask. Can't go outside. Can't be in a crowd. Data centers are going to drink up all your water. Can y'all stop scaring us for 5 seconds? Al in Dallas, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, James, enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I'm 72. I've been a baseball umpire since 1968, played college football and baseball. That's not the point. What I see as an umpire today is what's been talked about is that the kids today, because when I was that age, I was outside like everybody's been talking about. But today, they're not. And I think that is the issue, is that they're not outside being acclimated to the weather. And, I mean, God, for 15 years, I was a counselor for kids with cancer. We were outside all summer. And I was outside all summer until I had a heat-related issue where it sent me to the hospital, and then I had another one. And now, this time of year, I do Christmas in July as a Santa Claus.
Well, thanks for sharing your context. People need to hear this. People need to, I mean, I'm only one show on one station. I can't counter the narrative that's hitting all these kids from every angle because, you know, you have the public service announcements and you have the TV news and you have the clips on social media. It just never ends. It's almost like people are trying to infantilize children and young people and really adults as well. I have no warnings for adults when it comes to hot weather. None. And I counter that with, you hear other people on other stations say, well, listen, if you're of older age and you know you already have some health issues, well, maybe you should take it easy. No, people know what their health limits are. People that are adults, they can determine whether or not it's safe enough for them to go outside when it's 100 degrees and put in a hard day's work. People know their own bodies. They know when it's too much. I'm not going to try and tell you, hey, I know you thought you could go out, but listen, grown man, you need to be scared of going outside and listen to me. No, you know what you're doing. You know if you can handle it. You know if you can't handle it. You know this is a human endeavor, and we all have our days numbered anyway, so it's not like you could live forever if you get everything right. There's always an acceptable level of risk to pretty much any human endeavor. Let me play the Charlie Kirk bit again.
Why don't we make the speed limit 15 miles an hour? Seriously, that would save those people's lives. The reason that we do not have a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit is because we want to have the liberty to be able to go from Phoenix to Tucson in an hour and 38 minutes. But if we were all about safetyism, it'd be a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit, and it would be the same as just taking a horse-drawn carriage. And we laugh for good reason, because we we understand that liberty has a cost. We fooled ourselves otherwise this last year, that you could shut everything down and you could be totally safe and we're going to take care of you. Nonsense. There's so much liberty that we allow in our society for good reason because the benefit of the liberty outweighs the costs.
All right, school almost back in session. We've got your shopping covered. You can enter for your chance to win $1,000 in the National Back to School Shopping Spree, sponsored locally by Clarity Windows and Doors. Enter now, WBAP.com. Maybe you can win that $1,000 and go get yourself a water bottle so you don't die if you walk outside for 5 seconds when it's 100 degrees. Coming up next on The James Show, I'm going to play you a few clips from Donald Trump's public address right before The James Show started, about 1 o'clock our time. He came out and he signed an executive order and did some things. But you'll hear the highlights from that next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, fellow Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. I know. Good to see you, too. Good to see you, too. Donald Trump spoke right before the James Show started, and it kind of dovetailed with the, top story of the day is kind of the heat, but the heat is putting heat on data centers. See what I did there? That was kind of a lame little dad pun. But yesterday and today, when you look at the local news' reports on it, one of the things that the angles they take on this is, well, we have set a new powered consumption record in Texas. 91 gigawatts. I'm calling it gigawatts, not 91,000 megawatts. I want to say gigawatt. Can I say gigawatt like from Back to the Future? I don't think that's right, but I'm going to say it anyway. So we did 91 gigawatts. Do we have any brownouts? Do we have any blackouts? Do we have any failures? You see any of those headlines? No, we didn't. So all the people that were fighting all the data centers opening lately, we're not going to be able to handle it. Our grid's going to be overloaded. Wrong. You've been wrong thus far. Now, of course, if we just build 1,000 data centers now and do nothing to upgrade our electric grid, that will cause a problem. But the answer to that is to upgrade the electric grid. That's it. Not stop with the data centers. So Donald Trump came out and gave a prepared set of notes and then kind of spoke off the cuff for a while. And in the background behind him was a curtain that had the rate protection program. I guess this has to do with data centers, and if they're going to come build, they have to do it in a way that doesn't have an effect on your electric bill or your water bill, I believe. I don't know how you enforce that. I don't know if that's an executive order that is actually enforceable by law. I don't think it's been passed by Congress. But I'm going to share what I do know with you thus far through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quick sound bites here. Number one, the data center rate protection bill.
It's hard to believe, but you need double the electricity that we have right now, maybe even more than that, to really fulfill what you want to do. We're leading China by a lot. And using our old grid would not have worked. And I came up with the idea that, build your own plant. This way nobody can complain.
And then let me skip forward about 2 minutes. He talks about this pledge to hold your electricity rates stable in the face of new data center demand. But it might actually allow your electric rates to go down.
Under this groundbreaking plan, America's largest tech companies have formally committed to fund or build all energy infrastructure required to meet the demand they are placing on the grid. So they're going to be funding all of those electric needs, and we're giving them the right to build their own power plants. Lee Zeldin is here. He's phenomenal, and he's getting it done quickly.
Yeah. Let's clap for Lee Zeldin real quick. And then let's skip forward 6 minutes where he addresses the adversaries of data centers. And some of that, it might be you. A lot of people listening to the James Show right now are data center skeptics, or data center cynics is probably the more accurate word. Neurotic about data centers. We just focus on the negatives. Well, you're playing right into the hands of our adversaries.
Other nations are trying to get us to slow down, and they're spending a lot of money on propaganda, on press, PR, trying to convince everybody that this isn't a positive thing. And if we don't do this, we're going to be left behind. And even communities compared to other communities. You have some communities that really want this. This isn't all negative stuff. You have communities that really want the data centers. And frankly, those are the smart communities, because it means tremendous numbers of jobs, very little actual disruption. And the ones that don't want it, the happiest people in the world are foreign countries, number one, and number two, other communities within our country, because they're begging for them.
Now, you have never heard him talk on this level of depth for this long on the issue of data centers, and that has been a super white-hot issue on the James Show. So this next clip, 13 minutes into his prepared remarks today, he's kind of going off script in this part, and I can tell because he's not looking at the piece of papers that are in front of him, but you can also tell because he speaks in a little more conversational tone here, and he goes through why data centers are good. Now, a lot of this I have told you before, and for other people listening, I know you're a reasonable person, but they're not going to believe it just because they hear me say it, and maybe it'll mean something else if they hear it from Donald Trump, a guy that they trust more than me. And here he is talking about the good parts of data centers.
They also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? So
yeah, eliminating property taxes in Georgia because they're making so damn much money from data centers. Yeah, that sounds terrible. Did you get that in your Facebook feed? Did you get that from your little hypersensitive groups or from your data centers or evil groups? Did they talk about that? Did they talk about the other good stories? Because there have been negative effects from some data centers on some communities. They have that. I'm sure there's a data center somewhere that's contaminated an aquifer or caused a brownout or makes a bunch of noise or I don't know, farts in elevators. But here's like granted, this is anecdotal, but this is real, and this happened next door in Louisiana, and you haven't heard this story.
in Louisiana, there's a guy looks like he's from Louisiana to me. Public school teachers in so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in less than half.
Yeah, data centers are so evil. Teachers are getting bonuses and electric rates are going down. Someone's lied to you if they've tried to get you scared on data centers. And I'm glad to see Donald Trump's correcting some of the record on it. Although I don't like the intervention he's doing here by saying he can have any kind of say-so in what happens with the rates. But look, I'll take the good news when I get it. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, RT Trevino from the Crude Truth Podcast is going to let you know what's going on with your energy bills, most specifically your gas bill, because oil crossed $100 a barrel again today. Yep, the Iran war might be hitting your pocketbook. Find out next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So the Iran war is flaring up. Are your gas prices going to flare up? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Joining me now, RT, Ray Trevino from the Crude Truth Podcast. Welcome back, sir. All right. So I saw oil's flirting with the dreaded $100 a barrel mark. Are we about to see our gas prices spike? Well, when we have the price of oil, if it spikes up more, how long does that take to trickle down to the pump? Well, how are we doing over here stateside? Have we increased production in the middle of these convulsions, or has there been any change at all? What's coming up on the Crude Truth Podcast, RT? Yeah, and also if you'd like to donate some royalties to the James Show, that'd be really appreciated as well. RT, thank you very much, sir. To the phones we go. Jim and Carrollton, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hey, man. So this is not one of these, I'm so tough working out in the heat. This is more along the lines of what you're saying.
Okay.
When I was 9 years old, my dad was in the Navy. He's a pilot, and he was transferred to the Philippines. And when we first got there, the temperature and humidity makes Houston look like it's dry. And as kids, we were like holed up in the house for a while. But literally after a couple of weeks, we were outside running around in the jungle, climbing on trees, doing everything. So you're exactly right. If you get out and play in this stuff, eventually we didn't even notice it after a while. Eventually you just get used to it.
You know, I had the reverse experience this winter when, there was snow on the ground for almost 5 days. Here in downtown Dallas, if you were in the shady part where the buildings were always keep it in the shade. There was ice on the ground for about 5 days straight. And I am one of the biggest sissies in the world, in Texas, when it comes to cold weather. I hate it when it's cold. I gripe about it like a child. I realize it's one of my probably annoying shortcomings. But after walking through this and walking to lunch and walking to the store and running errands and just walking around in it for a week, I went outside one day and it was still below freezing, and I was only wearing a shirt. I wasn't even wearing a jacket. And I was like, wait a second. I'm walking in snow and I'm not even wearing a jacket. And I was thinking to myself, well, you're just going across the street. But I was also thinking to myself, James 2 weeks ago would have died in this situation. So you're right. We acclimate more than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah, I had the same situation when I first moved here from San Diego. My best friend in college had moved up to Tulsa. And I was here in Dallas, and it was the middle of the winter, January, hardest part. And we had a cold snap, and I decided to go up and visit him and his wife. And they were living in an apartment complex at the time. And I drove into Tulsa and drove into the apartment complex, and it was bright and sunny and about 29, 30 degrees. And as I drove around to the back through the complex, there was 2 or 3 kids out playing basketball. Some guy was literally washing his car. I'm not sure how. It was bright and sunny, but he was washing his car. And I got in there and told Mike, I said, Mike, it's freezing cold. He goes, oh, well, yeah, but it was below freezing for the last 4 days. So now
you get used to it.
Heat wave.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good chat. A good chat. I hope it helps somebody. We need more context like that instead of the Chicken Littles trying to get you to be scared of the sun is scary. No, the sun's not scary. If you're scared of the sun, someone's lied to you. All right. Got a lot of news coming up on the James Show. And this is going to be kind of weird, but I have a couple of AI stories. The second one is going to be these AI companions. I saw a survey that just made me slap myself in the face. 28% of people told a guy taking a survey that they've had a sexual experience with an AI companion. I didn't think the number was that high. No, Garrett probably hasn't. Garrett. Let's not pick on Garrett this time. Can we we'll pick on him tomorrow. Friday's the pick on Garrett day. Do you have one of these AI companions? Anyone brave enough to call into a talk radio show, the biggest talk radio station in Texas, and tell me about your romantic relationship with an AI companion? I would love to hear it. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Are AI companions cheating? Listen, I want to talk to you if you have one of these AI companions. If you have a romantic relationship with an AI companion, you need to call in right now, 800-288-9227, because I don't think anybody will. I think somebody listening right now does have an AI companion that they're romantically linked to, but they think I'm going to make fun of them or we're going to humiliate them. I will be respectful. You can use a fake name. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's life here. We all just have some questions that I'm sure you're capable of answering because you've had to answer these questions from your best friend and from other people in your close orbit. So 800-288-9227. Now, there's some other AI news today. In fact, Trump was just talking about some of the benefits of data centers and AI. We got to build these data centers, or who are all these people going to have companionship with? Oh, man. So, look, the crazy number that got me on the artificial intelligence kick was 28% of adults said they've had a sexual experience with an AI companion. Now, I haven't, but I've been happily married since before AI came out, so I hadn't really, been on the market.
I miss Parker.
Just like I don't know how the dating apps work either. That I met Miss Parker before. That was all a thing. So there's some things I just was projecting there. I didn't think 28% sounds really high. If you would have told me like 28% of just men, maybe, I don't know. That even seems weird for me. I don't know. But the more important AI story is far more mature than the silly little gossipy thing we got going on with the AI companion stuff. Have you heard of OpenAI? So OpenAI is one of the big AI companies, and they are trying to come up with a way to get an AI trained to find security holes for clients of OpenAI. So, I mean, look, you're familiar with ChatGPT. It's the same company, but they come up with these agents and people pay them for this service. Now, this is kind of a dangerous thing to do, is let an AI that is good at breaking into servers and overcoming network security features out loose. So they've had this AI agent in a closed system. It was in a group of servers that was not connected to the outside world. Now, they were supposed to solve a problem for a particular client, and it was having problems solving the questions it was asked, coming up with the answers. But it did think to itself, there's other AI agents like me that are owned by other companies that might have the answer. I need to go ask them and go search them and see if I can get the answer from them. So first, it had to find a security bug in the servers that it was currently on, exploit it, escape, and then it went and it broke into another AI's server. The other AI, there's OpenAI is the first company. The second company is called Hugging Face. It's a stupid name. Just go with me. Hugging Face. So this AI from OpenAI broke into Hugging Face's servers, found the answer it was looking for, the cybersecurity challenge it was supposed to be solving, and it was eventually caught by Hugging Face's security team. It got shut down. They unplugged the whole thing. But everyone's kind of wigged out. And look, I'm not in the tech world. I did go to college for coding and computers and all that stuff. So I think I can follow this better than the average bear here. But if this hasn't freaked you out a little bit, the key determining variable in this whole story that has me freaked out is that they didn't tell the AI to do this. That's not part of the AI's programming. Here, you need to find a way to escape the closed off system you're on, and then you need to go find another rival company who's addressing similar issues, and then you find a software, a security bug that they didn't even know existed, exploit it, log in, steal the information, and come back with the answer. So both of these companies are wigged the hell out because no one told them to do this. No one taught him how to do this. We didn't even know that he knew that this was an option. And we are getting to the point to where AI, within a year or two, 5 years for sure, is going to pass human beings in intelligence. And once that happens, how much longer do you think we can be in control of this? Did anybody call in with the AI companion story? We'll see. Ed in Weatherford, you're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I can go on a lot of that, starting with that weather. You know, I came from Arizona to Dallas many, many years ago. It's been great. It's been good to me.
Welcome.
But, you know, the Earth, it turns around, and it's on the axis, and we're closer to the sun at this time of the year, and it's going to be hot. And we have humidity here in Texas, somewhat, not as bad as Louisiana, but it's going to be hot, and nothing caused it differently that we've done. It's just the way it is. Now, on the data centers, you know, we've done some product for them, and trying to shut them down, that's not a way to go, but it can be, you know, regulations set. That would be the way to go to do anything with that. But a very high-end attorney here in our town said one thing, you know, don't worry about the data centers. They're going to be out of date in 10 years. So there's one thing. And the thing about it, I'm a conspiracy theorist, I guess. So my conspiracy theorist on theory on the data centers, they're not doing anything in there. What are they doing with these computers and such? They're building drones. They're not doing anything. They're just building drones.
Just building drones?
Ed, I thank y'all for listening to me.
Thank you very much. That is Ed in Weatherford. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Coming up next, we're going to talk to a local divorce attorney, Jennifer Hargrave, and I'm going to get her take on it. If you have an AI companion, and you know, you have an AI companion, not just who you're talking to, but who you're doing more than talk to, does that count as cheating? And I think the test here for me is if I'm going to ask you, if you caught your spouse doing that with an AI, doing this with an AI companion, would you consider that cheating? I'll give you my answer next on The James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, homeowners, right now, if you had Rhino Shield on your house, right this second, it would be reflecting 90% of UV sun rays away from your house, not absorbing them, not transferring them inside your house or converting it to heat, or it would just block it out. Right now, if you had Rhino Shield on your house and it's 111,000 degrees outside, you would be saving money on your energy cost. Your home would be more comfortable. Your home would be less humid. Your home would look better because there would be no cracking, no flaking, no peeling. Even if you had done it 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, no cracking, no flaking, no peeling. So if you already had Rhino Shield and you looked at your house, it would look better, it would perform better, it would be cooler, and it would save you money. There's no reason to not get Rhino Shield. We don't paint our house anymore. You coat your home. Go to rhinoshielddfw.com. Is an AI companion, does that count as cheating? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, the first question I think is the test I would use on whether or not having an AI companion is cheating is, would you be upset if your spouse was doing it? And this isn't coming out of the blue. A new survey showed that 28% of adults said that they had a sexual relationship with an AI companion. And, I can't go too much into detail here, but 28%, they've had a sexual experience with an AI companion. And so I think, well, what if Miss Parker had an AI companion?
Hi, Miss Parker.
And she, kind of, I don't know, gave herself the business? Can we just stop it right there? I don't think that would count as cheating. And I might be in the minority on this one, because in the comments section, almost everyone thought it was cheating. So either everyone thinks it's cheating, or just the people who think it's cheating feel compelled to comment on a story. Like, I didn't feel compelled to comment on it. But you know who would probably have some good insight on this? A divorce lawyer. Jennifer Hargraves coming back on the James Show, local divorce attorney here. First, not the legal person, but just Jennifer Hargraves, the human. Do you see this, having a sexual experience with an AI companion? Does that count as cheating in your book, Jennifer? Legally speaking, it doesn't count as adultery. Well, have we had this in a case yet? Have you had a divorce case where someone had an AI companion that was accused of adultery? Cool. Well, tell me about that. Change the names to protect the innocent. Right. But with an AI? Okay. So I can't help but just think, like, what if Miss Parker was in this situation and I caught her? I don't even think I'd be that upset. Like, not only would it not be cheating, it'd be like, oh, really? How was your adventure? Tell me about it. What, do I need to do that? Was it fun? Like, I don't know. I don't get, it really bothers me because so many people in the comment section were 100% adamant that it was cheating. Right. I'm a digital swinger. Okay, well, let me ask you this then. What about these people who have, like, sort of long distance relationships? Maybe it was someone they knew from high school or someone they just met online, and they don't actually, complete the process. They never meet up. Thank you. They're never, like, physically in the same room together. It is all just 100% text and maybe some pictures or whatever going back and forth. Does that count as cheating? Well, now I need to know where this line is. All right, Jennifer Hargrave, you're a divorce attorney. Where does adultery begin? So if I just get along with someone really good at work, obviously not adultery. Do we have to kiss? Do we have to hold hands? I don't know, just. So even if I make out. Okay, go ahead. Right. You just hate your husband's radio show. I get it. Go ahead. That's so weird. Okay. Well, thanks for spelling that out for me. Now I know what's officially cheating and not. Right, Miss Parker? Huh? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, if she hadn't pulled that trigger yet, I think I'm pretty safe over here. All right. Thank you very much. How do they find you online, Jennifer Hargraves? Thank you very much. All right. So I think the solution here, go get an AI companion. Garrett tried to get one, but it turned him down. Yeah, you're too busy missing your own jokes in there. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, you're going to be shocked at how many students are using AI to cheat, even on their midterm exams. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Yeah, it's hot, but it looks like the electricity is going to hold out. Looks like the AC is going to hold out. We'll be just fine. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. And look, this first heat wave, I want this to be a thumbtack in your memory because you have been told for some strange reason for the last year that we can't keep building data centers. It's going to collapse the grid. And here we are breaking electricity usage power records. And with 621 data centers operating in the state of Texas, still no collapse. Where were these people at? Where you at? Because you know if there had been any problems that were caused, it would be the headline story. But still, data centers are big in the news today. Donald Trump just had some public speech about it today where he was talking about the good that data centers do, how it far outweighs the bad, how if you're against data centers, you're playing in the hands of our adversary. And this is the first time he's really spoke on it that I've seen in this level of depth. And I'm so grateful he finally did this because this backs me up. There's been a lot of people that listen to WBAP that have bought into the anti-data center hype. And look, the data centers are going to happen. The fact that people complain about data centers on Facebook makes me want to just bang my head against a brick wall. You realize what you're doing? You realize how ridiculous that is? So that plus AI, don't expect data centers to go away. It's just, are we going to win this game? Are we going to be in the lead here? Or are we going to turn that over to someone else? And Donald Trump speaking about it has a big effect on public opinion out there, and hopefully it'll reach some of the people that have been giving me such a hard time for the last few months. This is David in California. You're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Yeah, well, how are you? I got to disagree with you. Data centers, this is just the camel's nose under the tent in the current heat wave.
Okay.
And one of the, when I was hearing about your power problems down there, you realize that the state of Texas doesn't allow itself to buy electricity across state lines.
Yes.
So if New Mexico's got some, if Oklahoma's got some, if Louisiana's got some electricity, Texas can't buy it across state lines. And it's set up that way by the same scammers that did Enron, 20-something years ago, 25 years ago. Because they got caught when they were selling electricity across state lines. And there's a thing called FERC. It's the lawman for selling electricity. And so Enron doesn't want to get caught again, but they want to pull the same scam again. And they've basically tricked companies and poor people especially into getting electricity on the auction plan. Now, the AI is even worse because it's basically allowing. You remember how all of our Social Security numbers got captured by Doge a year ago, right? So
no, they got captured by Doge.
Sure. They got into Doge, or they got into the Treasury. They captured all our Social Security numbers.
Yeah.
The crooked Supreme Court the crooked Supreme Court said they get to keep them, and we, the people, can't find out how they're using them. There's no Freedom of Information Act about how our Social Security numbers are being used. Now, imagine somebody piled all those Social Security numbers into AI, and then they started fleecing people across state lines. Well, who punched the button to say start doing that? How do you track down the person that authorized stealing Social Security?
What does this have to do with data centers? I'm sorry to interrupt. It just feels like you're going down a rabbit trail. What does this have to do with data centers?
Well, the idea of interstate fraud, if you take an AI, you give instructions to a mindless robot to steal something, and then how do you prosecute against that?
My question stands. What does that have to do with data centers, David?
Well, who has all of our Social Security numbers? They're stored in the data center, right?
Okay, but what does this have to do with data centers? All right, let me try and explain myself a little better, because the point isn't that, well, if we don't build the data centers, then what you're saying is not going to happen. Is that what you think? If we can stop all the data centers, then they won't be able to do what you're saying?
That's a big part of it.
Well, you're absolutely wrong. And let me explain why. We don't build the data centers here. Data centers are going to be built somewhere.
Absolutely wrong. You're sure.
Guess what? I have a button that can turn you off. So data centers are not geography dependent. If we don't build them here, they will be built by somebody somewhere. It's just think about it. I know it's an intangible product. Try and think of it like something tangible, like this monster can, aluminum cans. If we don't make them here, there is the market for aluminum cans. Or, I think we all understand oil. If you stop the drilling of oil in Texas, is that going to stop the usage of oil? Is that going to stop the exploitation of oil? Is that going to stop the environmental catastrophe from drilling for oil? No, it's just going to give that wealth generating industry to someone else who's not us. And a lot of the people who will be taking up that market share and getting all the wealth and the billions and trillions that comes with it, whether it's data centers or oil, will be people who are entirely antithetical. And in fact, they will love your scams even more. Would it be better if we have all the data centers elsewhere when we're dealing with some of these scams that are naturally going to happen with any new technology? Or would we be in better control of our destiny if these data centers were in our backyard under American and even better Texan control and oversight, David?
Do you remember who Tokyo Road?
Oh, fine. Don't even answer. Just don't even answer. Can't stand this. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Give him another shot, Garrett. All right, David. Go ahead.
So
Go ahead, David.
On crime. So you're soft on crime is what I'm listening to.
See, David, there's no point in even talking to you if you're going to aggressively misinterpret my position. Of course, I'm not soft on crime at all. And nothing I said betrayed that. You're taking an aggressive misinterpretation of my worldview in order to not actually defend your point. You're just trying to tear me down.
Do you like the idea that your Social Security data, all of your financial data is controlled by somebody else?
Do I like the idea?
Yeah.
What was that last part? Did you call me boy?
Sure did.
Okay. Well, no, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Do you like the idea that your data is captured by somebody else? Do you like the
No,
idea that
doesn't bother me at all.
in America's data, everybody in America, their data is captured?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with that in these data centers? They're going to be able to fraud stuff with robots?
Yeah, and we're going to use our robots to catch them. Look, you can't stop the technology from being created and being implemented. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. No, you can't. Either we're going to build them here or China's going to build them. Or look, if you want to go live on an Amish plantation, you can go do that. The rest of us are going to...
Are they dumb enough to build them then?
Who? The
Dumb
Amish?
enough to build them then?
No, why would Amish build data centers? They don't even have a speak and spell.
No, I'm saying Chinese. Are you saying they're dumb enough to build them?
They're building them already. They already have hundreds of them.
Robots. Do you really think that this robot world where all of the money is going to be electronic, phony money, and that our lives will have to starve to death because we don't have their electronic phony money?
No, see, I'm not in favor of that either. I am very much in favor of tangible money. In fact, I would like to move back to the gold standard. I want to go in the other direction. Now, I do appreciate the ability that we can transfer resources electronically via an app on our phone, via Venmo or whatever. So there's going to be some digital components to the exchange of value here. But this whole idea, like, oh, your information is going to be out in public. Hey, do you remember when we were kids how they used to take everybody's name and phone number and address, and they would print them all out, and they would put them in a big book, and they would go throw it on everybody's porch in town? And it was the most normal thing in the world. Anybody could track you down. You could track down everybody in town. Your information was just thrown about the streets, and there was thousands and thousands of extra copies that were just available to anybody who could just pull off any kind of scam back then. No, this is just a digital version of that. And you're overreacting if you think that you can stop progress, if you can stop technology because you're worried about someone getting your social security number. David in California, calm down. It's going to be fine. I don't know who scared you. I don't know where. Maybe you can show me on this doll that AI touched you. But you have a neurotic view of the world that's not doing you any favors. AI is not going to be devastating. It is not going to be that bad. There will be some negative aspects of it. But your level of fear is completely unwarranted Coming up next, the great comedian Bruce Bruce is coming to town. I'll tell you about it on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. AI is not going to kill us all. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I know that's not anybody's position here, but it's the hyperbole that I face when discussing this. And look, AIs and data centers are on the headlines today for a couple of reasons. Number one, here in Texas, our giant heat wave. We've broken some power records. 91 gigawatts of power were used in one day here, shattering the record from 3 years ago of, what was it, 87? Something to that effect. Yet with all the new data centers built up, we're doing just fine. 621 data centers are in Texas. The grid hasn't collapsed yet. You were told it would. Now, Donald Trump comes out and he gives a speech, talks about how he's going to have a rate pledge when it comes to data centers. And he actually took some time finally today to say the things that I've been saying to a bunch of pushback on the James Show, that overall data centers, while they do have their problems, more good than bad. And we should embrace them because our enemies definitely don't want us to. And that's probably all the signs you need. Mark in North Richland Hills, you're on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
James, we need data centers. We need to advance our technology before our enemies do. And if we don't take data centers seriously, other countries will, and we'll be left behind. All this rhetoric going around on how it's going to damage our properties, it's going to suck up all of our power, it's going to take all of our water. Well, a lot of that is initiated by conversations with our enemies producing propaganda that is getting spewed out by the left and by people that are just crybabies. If we don't advance our country and if we don't take the data centers, we're going to be the ones left behind.
Okay, Mark, I agree, but we've got to be nicer about this because I'm kind of a butthead too. And if you're going to be a butthead, I don't think we're going to win these people over because, look, I don't know who got to them before we did, but it's one of the hardest things in the world for people to admit that they're wrong. And I feel the frustration because this is coming from the WBAP crowd. I mean, a lot of this is coming from people who I agree with on 90% of things. And economically speaking, they say they're for capitalism. They say they're for smaller government. They say they're anti-socialist and they don't want government control of major industries. And yet here they are begging for it. That's what I find most frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm an antagonist about this with people, but, you know, sometimes you got to point them in the right direction and give them the evidence they need to show that, hey, take it as a consideration. Your decision may not always be correct, but other people see it in a bigger picture. Some people look down a funnel. Some people look out through the funnel. And at this point, at this point, there's a lot of people looking down through the small end and not seeing the greater picture of what is good for the country, what is good for humanity, if you will.
No, I like your funnel metaphor. Good stuff. All right, that's Mark in North Richland Hills. Good call, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We will go down to Colton and Decatur. Hey, Colton, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP.
Hi, James. I just wanted to hear your thoughts. The city of Amarillo, several months back, had a town hall meeting that drew overwhelming public outcry against a very large data center that's going to be going out just outside of the city. And despite all of the opposition, the city council still moved forward with the project. My question to you is, do you think that the city council was either paid off in some way or to lean favorable toward the data center, or is this an issue that you think could possibly be happening several places?
Well, okay, let me start pushing back on that. So first off, I never discount the fact that a politician at any level could have been paid off to make their decision. So maybe they were, maybe they weren't. But Colton, you don't really have to come in and hand them cash under the table or a briefcase or whatever. They are getting paid off through the natural process of having a data center in their jurisdiction because they can charge property taxes to that data center. And what they've learned is they can charge twice, maybe 3 times what they charge per square foot in data center property taxes. And they would charge Colton in Decatur on his house. And so they are going to get tons of money off the data center just from property taxes. Now, that's not going to go to their bank account, and that's not the same as getting a bribe, but they will get to control where that spending goes. So then next time someone needs to build a bridge or a new piece of artwork in the town square, or we're going to make a roundabout or refurbish a library or whatever, they get to control where that money goes and hand out the contracts. And that's how they make their bones. So data centers bring so much wealth and affluence and resources to these communities that you don't have to pay them under the table. Just following the law and the regular old tax regime is enough financial incentive for them to do it. And I can see why it would look suspicious when there's a whole room full of people shouting it down. But if on the back end, you're going to get to control millions and millions of spending, then there doesn't have to be anything under the table for that. Let me replay a little bit of Trump here for you, Colton. I don't know if you were listening earlier, but he had spoke right before the show started. Just two clips here where he finally came out and said some of the things I've been saying about data centers for months.
They also throw off tremendous amounts of money for the community. And when you look at Georgia and you look at the revenue, think of that revenue from Google's data center construction, allowing them to eliminate all property taxes. Did you know that, Brian? That's not bad, right? It's okay.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Colton, here's another part of that he brought up. Granted, this is just an anecdotal situation here, but this is pretty positive.
In Louisiana, there's a guy looks like he's from Louisiana to me. Public school teachers in so think of that, Richland Parish are getting as much as $50,000 in bonuses this year thanks to a $27 billion project by Meta that will also save local residents $2.6 billion on their electricity bills. Their electricity is going down in less than
Yeah, I don't care if you like data centers or not. We're all jacking around on our phone for hours a day. We're going to need these things. We should probably build them and accept the wealth and also negative consequences that come with them. All right, coming up next, one of the great comedians of a generation, Bruce Bruce, is coming to town this weekend. I'll tell you when and where, and have a chat with him on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, I have an awesome guest for you now on the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. One of the great comedians of a generation, Bruce Bruce. You've seen him everything from Def Comedy Jam and Apollo in the 90s. Yin Yang Twins gave him a shout out in Salt Shaker. Now he has a new Netflix special out, and I'll tell you where he's going to be in town this weekend. Bruce Bruce, welcome to the James Show.
Hey, man, thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Look, I've been a fan, but just kind of a casual fan all these years. You know, I see it pop up in a music video or a special every once in a while. I didn't realize that you hadn't put out a special in 15 years. What happened there?
Man, I just wanted to be the best, and I just wanted to perfect everything. I didn't want it to be an up and down show. I wanted to be up, up, up. I wanted to say just like that, and that's exactly what it was. Okay.
Well, I didn't know maybe you had to take some time off to take care of an ailing family member. Sometimes there's a story behind that.
No, I never take no time off. So if I got an ailing family, I'm still not going to take no time off. I'm going to appoint someone to be with them till I get back, and we'll make it happen.
So Netflix seems to be sort of the place to go for a comedian getting a special these days. It used to be you could maybe get like a one-night stand from Comedy Central, and if you were really good, maybe you would end up on an HBO special. But boy, Netflix has really done a good job giving a platform to some good comedians.
They did, man. They're really good to me, and they really enjoyed my special, and the numbers are good, man. It's doing very well. I was in the top 5, and I was in the top 5 for my 12 weeks, so that's good.
Nice. And I missed it. It came out back in March. I would have watched it now if I'd have even knew it existed. Tell them to put you in the main menu a little more often so you don't get overlooked like that. Now, you do, I think some of your best job as a comedian is this observational stuff where you point out things about people that we all see, but it doesn't matter. Everyone is going to catch a bullet at a Bruce Bruce show, and you can get away with making fun of anybody because, number one, it's true. Like, I'm about to play a clip of you making fun of white people. Now, you can get away with it if, number one, it has to be a true criticism of white people, and number two, it has to be funny, and this is both.
White people are different. White people rock up on a brother dog and don't even know it. You know that? You can have a Rottweiler, 200 pound there. This your puppy? Hand all in the mouth. Don't do that. We see a dog we don't know, we cross the street. Don't know that dog.
Now, that is funny because it's true, and that's something, even as a guy who's 75% white, I have a problem with how much white people let dogs lick their face, so kudos on that.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, I agree with you 100%, man, but it's true and it's funny, though.
Yeah, so the other one, the people who you give the hardest time, though, is our overweight neighbors, and you get a pass because you yourself are in that community, right. But you go so hard on big people.
People that are fat and don't realize you're fat, I'm gonna give you a few pointers to let you know you're fat. If you have to put your belt in your pants before you put them on, you're pretty much a fat person. If you take a shower and sweating at the same time, you'd be like, oh my God, it's hot in here.
Now, see, I can't relate to that because I've never had to put my belt on before I put on my pants. But the discovery of this information was where I found the comedy. So good job there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. So how has comedy changed in the modern iteration where you have social media where people can discover you that way versus when you started in late 80s, early 90s? Talk about how technology has really changed your job.
Well, you just answered it, really. When you said social media, man, if I had social media almost 40 years ago, I would probably be bigger than Richard Pryor, George Carlin put together. I mean, the social media have made a platform that everybody can see you, everybody, no matter what race or color you are. But the social media is great. And like they say, if you can't beat them, join them.
So is Ozempic going to ruin fat jokes for you?
No, man. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about taking some myself. I understand they got a pill now. You ain't have to take the shots no more.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, yeah. What's keeping you from doing it?
My doctor, we have to do the test to make sure everything is right for you. And when it's right for you, when she says a go, when it's a green light, we're doing it.
All right, so you're coming to town here. For the people, if you want to see him immediately, you can go to Netflix and pull up his special that's been out since March 3rd called I Ain't Playing. But you're going to be at the Addison Improv. You're going to be there tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So are you sold out?
I'm sold out, and I want to let you know we added a matinee show Sunday at 4 o'clock.
Well, man, so how many shows does that put you doing this weekend?
We only 6. It's 6 shows.
Okay,
I can knock
okay.
it out, no problem, yeah.
Well, that's great that you can still sell out shows here. Bruce, do you feel like your audience is bigger than ever, or do you think like you peaked at some point and you're just kind of coasting these days?
Oh no, my audience is big as ever, man. I'm grabbing a lot of young people now that's really, when their parents say, you need to see this guy, and then when they see me, they're like, oh, he is really funny. So, man, I'm still grabbing them all, man. I want all of them.
Well, let me know anytime you're in town. I'll be happy to have you on the show in exchange for promoting the show. I'm a big fan of your work and glad you're coming to Addison this weekend. If you want tickets, you can go to improv.com or you go to brucebruce.com, but he's going to be in Addison at the Improv tomorrow, Saturday, and well, I guess the only open day is Sunday. So, well, congrats on a successful weekend before it even started.
Thank you, my friend.
All right, that's Bruce, y'all. Comedy legend. Coming up next, there's a couple of people on hold that want to give me a hard time, and if they don't stay on hold through the break, I'll run a couple of local news stories by you. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Yeah, it's a little hot outside, but it looks like the grid's going to hold up, and we got AC. So if you got to work outside, you know how to be safe. I don't have to tell you anything. But AI, data centers is on the front burner today because Donald Trump came out, gave a speech, signed a new order, and he's got some regulations, but also some really nice things to say about data centers. And this is the first time I've ever heard him go into this level of detail, saying things that I've been getting beat up for on this show for months, even though I'm absolutely right. It's good to have a little backup there. David in Runaway Bay, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
James.
David.
All right. So this is the question I would have for everybody that's against the data centers, especially here in Texas. If the data center doesn't go in on that piece of land, you know what they're going to put there?
Nothing.
A subdivision with 3,000 homes. So if they're concerned about the water usage and the electricity, but a subdivision comes in instead with 2,000, 3,000 homes.
Oh, no. Look, I think I'm on your side philosophically, but the data centers use far more electricity and water than a whole subdivision would.
Well, I mean, we've got the energy.
Well, we do for now. If we build everything that's projected, we won't have the energy. And so the answer to that is build more energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, some people's answer to that is we better not build the data centers. Our grid can't handle it. Well, then we need to make our grid a little more robust. That's all.
Yeah, and that adds more jobs.
No, and look, I think of a lot of people were confounded by the numbers that happens with data centers because you think, okay, it's going to be a pretty big building, but how is it going to use more electricity than an entire subdivision of 350 homes? You have to think about the scales here. Like, and I have a flash drive that can hold a terabyte. And thank you very much. You don't need to be on the phone for this, David, in Runaway Bay. But I have a flash drive with a terabyte storage. That means there's 8 trillion ones and zeros that can be flipped on or off in that little flash drive. Now, when you talk about data centers that hold just terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of processing and storage and info, and they have all the processors that are crunching these ones and zeros, it's a teeny tiny fractional amount of energy that gets multiplied by the trillions and then sometimes by the quadrillions. And so what's going on in there? Just these little flips of switches that are going on by the trillions per second is creating just a teeny tiny little morsel packet of heat. But again, it's creating about 4 quadrillion of those a day. So when it comes to economies of scale, it's because we've broken things down so little that whenever you put up a movie, that's just a few minutes long and it's like 8 gigs, you understand that we're talking about 8 billion bytes. So multiply that, 64 billion ones and zeros going on just to play that one video. And that's got to go be cranked through somebody's microprocessor on somebody's server somewhere. And that's how we get to these huge numbers with the energy usage. Lonnie in Red Oak, you're on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
Well, I guess David was at our city council meeting, and that 3,000 homes is gaslighting to the max. Now, when if there's such wonderful things, how come all the council members sign non-disclosure agreements? Why didn't they advertise? What a wonderful thing. We're going to have 7 data centers in Red Oak. One right at the end of my street, a half a mile from my house. What are they going to do? Pay me the $100,000 that my property value is going to go down? All they're doing is making their job easier at the city council by having all this money to spend that's given to them. Oh, yeah, in 10 years, because there's a 10-year tax abatement before they start getting tax from these data centers.
Well, that's actually an argument that resonates with me. I'm not a big fan of the tax abatements. The big draw here is that they would add to the pool of resources for whatever communities they enter. And for the places that do it, Loudoun County, the other place in Georgia where they're getting rid of property taxes. You know, that there's actually been a nice little trend of some people's local property taxes going down because the data centers are paying so damn much. It doesn't sound like that's going to be the case for what you guys are looking at. But also, when you talk about why do the city councilmen, you know, have non-disclosures and aren't too public about it, that doesn't mean data centers are going to be bad for the community. That means the building of data centers is going to be bad for them politically. And so if there is an active group of people who will come out and protest and put negative consequences on these people for having data centers, it doesn't matter if data centers are good or bad. They're going to want to try and hide that and shield themselves for the political reasons. That's no proof that data centers are bad for your community.
Well, they are bad because what's going to happen when they're decommissioned? When the technology is so far advanced, these huge buildings with 25 car spaces to park are obsolete.
Oh, well then, Lonnie, we've built up the water and electricity infrastructure to accommodate these. When they turn off, then that is going to have more available to you. So if you have more supply but less demand, your power prices are going to go down. Your water prices should go down, or at least have downward pressure. And if they do go away, wouldn't that be a good thing? If they're bad, you can't complain when they're built and complain when they're decommissioned. Which one? Are they bad or are they not?
They're bad. They're bad. They're
Disagree.
gonna make noise. Yeah, well, you know what? When the technology is advanced so far that they're obsolete in 10 years.
That'll be good.
Of running.
What did we do with all the factories that made beepers?
Well, okay, but what are you going to do with 7 or 10 huge buildings at the end of my street?
Well, that'll be a problem for the property owner of the building to solve. You don't have to worry about that, Lonnie. That's not going to be a problem for you.
It is if it's at the end of my street.
Why?
They bought this. Well, okay, let me tell you. They bought this land from somebody, and they were told that it was going to be for athletic fields and parks. Well, then they went around.
All right, I hate to do this to you, Lonnie, but I'm really out of time for the whole show.
Yeah, well,
I enjoy talking to you because
you're the data centers.
You're very reasonable, and I appreciated the good faith debate. Thank you. That was Lonnie in Red Oak. Stick around. Mark Levin's coming up next. If you need more James Show action, check out the James Show podcast, and I have all kinds of funny little clips and videos on the social medias. And if you are going to go check me out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all the things, be sure to thank a data center. I'm James Parker. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.